The storm had teeth. Lightning ripped across the sky, turning the frozen wasteland white for a moment, then black again. Captain Elias Ward stumbled through the snow, his survival suit half dead, oxygen low. The wreck of his cargo ship burned behind him, a dying star in the night. He was alone. Or so he thought. His helmet scanner blinked weakly, showing a faint life signal nearby. Could be shelter, he muttered. The cold bit through his gloves. Each step sank deep into the icy crust. The wind howled like a living thing. It wasn't just cold. It was angry. After what felt like hours, he reached a cave half buried in ice. The entrance glowed faintly blue, as if the rock itself was alive. He hesitated. His training said, "Don't go in." His instincts said, "You'll die if you don't." He went in. The air inside was warmer, thick, and strange. It smelled like metal and rain. He removed his helmet slowly. For the first time since the crash, he could breathe. His breath came out shaky. He touched the wall. It pulsed faintly under his glove. Then he heard it, the low, deep sound of breathing, slow, heavy, alive. Elias froze. His light swept across the cave and stopped. There, lying curled near the far wall, was something. Someone, a woman. But not human. She was enormous, almost 3 meters tall, with pale silver skin and hair like molten iron. Her body shimmered faintly under the dim blue light. She wore armor made of bone and glass, cracked and scarred. One of her arms was bleeding, thick dark blue blood oozing slowly. She wasn't dead. Just sleeping. Or resting. Elias's heart hammered. He had seen many species during his missions, but never anything like her. Her features were sharp, beautiful in a strange way, but also terrifying. Her face looked peaceful, yet strong. A warrior's face. Suddenly, her eyes opened. They were huge, bright amber, and they locked on him instantly. Elias took a step back, his hand reaching for the small plasma cutter on his belt. The giant woman's pupils narrowed. She didn't move at first, just watched him quietly, as if deciding whether he was real. Then she spoke. Her voice was low and rough, echoing off the walls. "You are human?" Elias swallowed. "Yes," he said carefully. "Who are you?" She tried to sit up but winced, clutching her side. The movement made the ground tremble slightly. "You shouldn't be here," she said. "This place is death for your kind." "Yeah," Elias muttered, glancing toward the storm outside. "I noticed." Her eyes softened slightly. She looked tired, not weak, but worn. "I am Kareth," she said slowly, the words thick with an alien accent. "I was not expecting to live long enough to meet a human." Elias frowned. "You're injured. I can help. You?" She let out a faint laugh, a deep, rumbling sound that filled the cave. "Your body is too small. You cannot help me." "Maybe not," he said, stepping closer, "but I can try." For a moment, they stared at each other. The human, small, fragile, but alive. The alien, strong, massive, but broken. The silence between them was heavy, filled with something unspoken. Kareth's breathing grew shallow. "Leave, human," she said quietly. "Before the storm eats this cave." "Before I do." Elias blinked. "You're not serious." "I am." Her eyes glowed faintly. "My kind, we don't take kindly to weakness. And right now I am weak." He didn't leave. Instead, he set down his emergency kit beside her. "Then let me help you stay strong," he said. "At least until the storm ends." For the first time, her expression changed, confusion, maybe disbelief. No one had ever said something like that to her before. The cave rumbled as thunder rolled above them. Snow fell from the ceiling in soft flakes. Outside, the storm screamed. Inside, a fragile connection formed between a broken alien warrior and a stubborn human who refused to run. Kareth's eyes closed again, her voice barely a whisper. My body's too big, human. I'm not made for your kind. Elias looked at her, his jaw tightening. Then I guess your kind never met someone like me. And the storm raged on. When Elias woke, the storm had quieted. Only a low wind hummed outside the cave, soft and distant. He blinked, realizing he had fallen asleep sitting beside the alien giant. The dim blue light still glowed from the cave walls, making her silver skin shine like moonlight on water. Kareth was still there, breathing slow and deep. Her wound had stopped bleeding. Elias noticed the makeshift bandage he had wrapped around her side, his torn jacket, sealed with med gel. It looked small and fragile against her massive frame, but somehow it had worked. He rubbed his stiff neck. Still alive, he murmured. That's something. A deep voice answered, half whisper, half growl. You patched me, like I was one of your own. Elias turned sharply. Kareth's amber eyes were open again, fixed on him. There was confusion in them, and something else, something like curiosity. You were dying, he said. Didn't seem right to just watch. She studied him, her gaze heavy and thoughtful. Humans are strange. You risk your life for a creature you don't understand. Elias gave a small smile. Guess that's what we do best. Kareth tried to sit up again. This time she managed. The movement shook the ground beneath Elias's boots. He stepped back instinctively, still staring in awe. Her full height filled the cave, broad shoulders brushing the glowing stone. She was breathtaking and terrifying all at once. Her armor clinked softly as she turned to look at the frozen landscape outside. The storm is ending, she said. You should leave. Your kind cannot survive the nights here. Elias frowned. What about you? I will heal. I always do. Her tone was firm, almost cold, but there was a tremor beneath it, a quiet sadness she couldn't hide. He hesitated. You said last night your kind doesn't like weakness. What did you mean? She looked at him then, eyes dark and distant. Where I come from, the strong are chosen to breed, to lead, to live. The rest are left behind. Elias felt a chill that had nothing to do with the cold. That's cruel. Kareth's jaw tightened. Cruelty keeps us alive, but it also makes us alone. She turned away, her voice dropping lower. I am not breeding material, human. My body is too large, too strong. The males of my species call me unfit, a failed warrior, a female who cannot serve her purpose. Elias didn't know what to say. He had seen a lot in his travels: wars, hunger, alien empires, but never this kind of quiet pain. He stepped closer, careful, his voice soft. You saved yourself. You fought to live. That sounds more than fit to me. Kareth looked down at him. Her expression was unreadable. For a long moment, she said nothing. Then, slowly, her shoulders eased. You talk too much, she said finally. Elias grinned. I get that a lot. A low sound came from her chest, half a growl, half a laugh. It startled him, but then he realized she was smiling. It was faint, small, but real. For the next few hours they worked together. Elias scavenged parts from his emergency pod. Kareth lifted heavy ice blocks and cleared debris. She was clumsy with her injury, but strong enough to move boulders like pebbles. When he built a small fire using broken panels, she crouched beside it, studying the flickering flames like they were alive. It's beautiful, she whispered. Your people made this? Elias poked at the fire. Fire made us. Without it, we'd still be crawling in caves. She tilted her head, considering his words. Humans. You burn to survive. He nodded. Yeah, we burn, and we keep going. Silence filled the cave again, but it wasn't heavy this time. It was calm. The alien and the human sat side by side, the warmth of the fire glowing between them. Outside, the world was frozen, but inside, something new was thawing. Kareth glanced at him from the corner of her eye. "You're different, human. You don't fear me." Elias met her gaze. "Should I?" Her voice dropped to a whisper. "Maybe." But in her eyes, for the first time, there was no warning, only wonder. For 2 days, the storm slept. The world outside the cave turned silent, as if holding its breath. The endless white plain stretched to the horizon, untouched and deadly. Elias and Kareth had built a fragile peace. She hunted small frost creatures that moved beneath the snow. He repaired the small beacon from his ship's remains, hoping someone might hear his distress signal. They didn't talk much, but when they did, it mattered. The fire burned low. Elias sat near it, tapping his communicator. "Signal still dead," he muttered. Kareth glanced up from sharpening her blade, a huge curved weapon made from some creature's bone. "No one will come," she said flatly. "You don't know that." "I do." She pressed the blade against the floor, her eyes glowing faintly in the firelight. "This planet eats travelers. It does not give them back." Elias smirked, but his smile didn't reach his eyes. "Then maybe I'll be the first." Kareth looked at him for a long moment. "You sound like someone who refuses to die." He met her gaze. "You sound like someone who forgot how to live." Her lips twitched, almost a smile. But before she could reply, the cave trembled. A deep rumble rolled beneath their feet. The fire flickered. Elias froze. Kareth stood in one smooth motion, her blade ready. "Stay behind me." "What was that?" He whispered. She didn't answer. The ground cracked slightly, and a faint hiss rose from the ice tunnels below. The sound was alive, slithering, angry. Kareth's muscles tensed. "It woke up." Elias frowned. What is it?" "The beast," she said quietly. "The one that hunts warmth." Before Elias could react, the floor erupted. Shards of ice flew like knives. A massive shape burst from the ground, scales, teeth, and a mouth that glowed red from the inside like molten metal. The creature roared, shaking the cave. Elias stumbled back, shielding his face. Kareth didn't move. She charged. Her roar echoed through the cave as she struck the beast's head with her blade. Sparks exploded where bone met scale. The creature screamed and swung its tail, slamming Kareth against the wall. She hit hard but rolled to her feet, bleeding blue again. Elias grabbed his plasma cutter. It was useless against something that size, but he couldn't just stand there. "Hey, over here!" he shouted, aiming the cutter at the beast's eye and firing a bright jet of plasma. The shot hit. The monster howled, thrashing violently. Kareth used the moment to leap onto its back. Her strength was unbelievable. She plunged her blade into the beast's neck, pulling it sideways until black steam hissed from the wound. The creature shuddered, then collapsed, half melted into the ice. Silence. Elias panted, his hands shaking. "You okay?" Kareth stood over the dead creature, her chest rising fast, her armor torn. "I am not fragile, human." He smiled weakly. "Didn't say you were, just making sure." She looked down at him. There was pride in her eyes, and something softer hiding beneath it. "You fought beside me," she said, "even knowing you would die if it touched you." "That's kind of my thing," Elias replied, breathing hard. "Terrible survival instincts." Kareth gave a low chuckle. "Maybe that is why your kind always surprises mine." They dragged the creature's body out of the cave. Its blood froze instantly in the snow, glowing faintly blue. Elias stared at the monstrous shape. "What even is that?" "A burrow serpent," she said. "It senses warmth and hunts those who make fire." "It was drawn to you." He blinked. "To me?" She nodded. "You are small, but your life burns bright. It is loud." Elias laughed softly. So basically, I'm a walking torch. Kareth tilted her head. A fragile one, but bright enough to wake the dark. They returned to the cave, exhausted. As Elias built a new fire, Kareth sat beside him, silent. The glow reflected in her eyes, softening the harsh lines of her F-night had fallen again. But the cave no longer felt cold. The fire flickered softly, throwing warm light across the strange metallic walls. Elias sat near it, his jacket half burned. His fingers wrapped around a steaming cup of water, flavored with some melted alien plant Kareth had found. Kareth sat across from him, silent as always, but watching. Her eyes glowed faintly amber in the firelight. She had removed most of her armor to clean the wounds from the serpent fight. Beneath it, her skin was smooth, silver with faint lines that shimmered like starlight when she moved. Elias tried not to stare. He failed, she noticed. Humans do not hide their curiosity well. He nearly choked on his drink. I wasn't, her lips curved slightly. You were. He sighed, rubbing the back of his neck. You can't blame me, you're not exactly what I expected an alien warrior to look like. Kareth tilted her head. And what did you expect? I don't know, scales, tentacles, something with more teeth. She laughed softly, a deep melodic sound that echoed through the cave. You think I am beautiful, don't you? Elias blinked, caught off guard. That's not fair. You're 8 feet tall. Height has nothing to do with beauty, she said simply, leaning closer. Where I come from, size is strength. But my kind saw only imperfection. He frowned. Because you're too big? She nodded once. Our females are bred for balance, strong but delicate. Fierce but fertile. I was born. More. Her gaze dropped to the fire. When the breeders came to choose, they said my frame would break any mate. They said no male could stand me. So they sent me to war instead. Elias listened quietly. Every word felt heavy, carved with years of loneliness. You fought for them? He asked softly. I fought because there was nothing else, she said. They called me the Cold One, no mate. No offspring. Only the blade. She lifted her hand slightly, large, scarred, trembling faintly in the light. Until the battle that brought me here. Elias leaned forward. The crash? Kareth nodded. My ship was ambushed by our own. I was not supposed to survive. She looked up at him then, her expression unreadable. And yet here I am. Saved by something small. Something human. Elias smiled faintly. Guess the universe has a weird sense of humor. For a long moment, neither spoke. The sound of the fire and the soft hum of the walls were the only things between them. Then Kareth said quietly, You risked your life for me. Why? He stared into the flames. Because I saw someone worth saving. Her chest rose slowly, her breath catching just a little. She didn't understand this human, his warmth, his stubbornness, his strange habit of seeing strength where others saw flaws. You speak as if weakness is not shameful, she whispered. Elias looked up. It's not. Sometimes weakness is what makes us human. It's what reminds us to care. Kareth's gaze softened. Care. That word does not exist in my language. Then maybe it's time it does. For the first time, she couldn't look away. There was something in his eyes, small and fragile, but burning like a star. No warrior had ever looked at her that way. Not with fear, not with desire, but with belief. Outside, the wind howled across the frozen plains. Inside, the fire burned low, warm and steady. Kareth reached out slowly, her massive hand hovering near his shoulder. You are small, she said softly. But you carry more fire than 1,000 suns. Elias felt his heart race, but he didn't move away. Maybe that's why I survived here. Her touch finally landed, gentle, unsure. Her fingers dwarfed his shoulder, but the warmth was real, alive, for a heartbeat, Neither of them spoke. Then Kareth whispered, almost to herself, "Perhaps my body was not made for my kind. But maybe it was made for something else." Elias looked up at her, his voice quiet, trembling with something unspoken. "Or someone else." The air between them shifted, soft, fragile, electric, and somewhere deep beneath the ice, the ground rumbled again. Not from a beast this time, but from the slow, unstoppable motion of two worlds colliding. The storm returned with a vengeance. Thunder cracked like cannon fire, and lightning danced over the frozen plains. The cave trembled under the wind's fury, but inside, Elias and Kareth stayed close to the fire. Closer than before. She was repairing her armor again, giant hands moving with surprising precision. Elias sat beside the beacon transmitter he had rebuilt for the third time, its lights flickering weakly. Then it happened, a soft beep. The tiny red light blinked green. He froze. "No way." Kareth looked up, her eyes narrowing. "What is that sound?" Elias stared at the blinking signal. "It's a response." Someone picked up the distress call. For a moment, the cave was silent except for the wind. Then Kareth rose to her full height, towering over him. "Your people are coming?" "Looks like it," he said, his voice caught between relief and disbelief. "They found me." But his excitement faded as he looked at her. Kareth stood still, unreadable. Her amber eyes reflected the flicker of the fire and something else. Fear. "You should be happy," she said quietly. "You will live." Elias frowned. "We will live. They can take both of us." Kareth turned away. "No, they will not take me. Why not?" She looked back, her voice low and hard. "To your kind, I am a monster. A threat. They will put me in chains or worse." Elias opened his mouth, then closed it again. She was right. Humans feared what they couldn't understand, and Kareth was too large, too alien, too powerful. "I won't let that happen," he said. Kareth's laugh was soft, sad. "You cannot stop it. You are small, human. Brave, but small." He stood up, facing her. "Then I'll fight them if I have to." For the first time, she looked at him like she didn't know what to say. Her eyes softened, and her voice trembled slightly. "You would fight your own kind." "For me?" He nodded without hesitation. "I already did, remember? Against the cold. Against that monster. Against everything that tried to kill us." "Ace, you shouldn't have helped me," she said quietly. "Your death would have meant nothing to my kind." Elias looked at her. "Maybe, but it would have meant something to me." Her gaze lingered on him, this small human who refused to break. The fire crackled between them, and for the first time, Kareth realized she didn't feel cold anymore. Outside, the snow whispered across the dead beast's body. Inside, two lives, alien and human, burned quietly, warming a frozen world. Kareth stared at him in silence. Then she turned away, hiding the faint glow that rose in her cheeks. "You are foolish," she whispered. "And I am. Not meant for this." Elias stepped closer. "Not meant for what?" She turned back, her gaze locking on his. "For you." The words hit harder than the storm outside. Elias tried to smile, but his chest ached. Maybe the universe doesn't care what we're meant for. Maybe it just throws us together and laughs. Kareth exhaled, a low rumble from deep in her chest. "You speak like a poet." He grinned. "Only when I'm scared." The wind howled louder. Snow began slipping through cracks in the cave roof. Kareth moved closer, her shadow wrapping around him like a blanket. "You are trembling," she said. He shook his head. "Not from the cold." Her hand brushed his shoulder, careful, hesitant. The touch sent a shiver through him, not fear this time, but something older, deeper. She knelt until their faces were level, her massive form folding gracefully beside him. You confuse me, human, she said softly. You make me feel small. He smiled faintly. That's impossible. She shook her head. Not in body. In here. She touched her chest where her heart glowed faintly under her skin. You make me forget the weight of war. You make me feel alive. Elias reached up, his fingers brushing the back of her hand. Then don't forget. Not yet. Lightning flashed again, lighting her eyes like twin suns. For a moment, they just breathed, one human heartbeat, one alien pulse, echoing together in the quiet between storms. Then the beacon beeped again, louder this time. Elias looked at it. They're close. Kareth stood slowly. Then our time is over. No, he said firmly. It's not. She turned to him, her expression breaking for the first time. Pain, longing, something she couldn't hide anymore. Elias, my people never taught me how to say goodbye. He stepped closer. Then don't. Stay. Her voice cracked. If I stay, your people will die. If I leave, you will forget me. He shook his head. I could never. The storm roared outside. The beacon blinked faster, and as lightning lit the cave, Kareth took one last look at the small, stubborn human who had warmed a heart she never thought she had. Outside, a ship's light broke through the clouds. Rescue had come, but it didn't feel like salvation. It felt like the end. The sound came first, a low hum that grew into a roar. Elias stepped outside the cave, snow whipping against his face, as bright lights cut through the storm. The rescue ship descended slowly, engines glowing against the dark sky. He had never seen anything so beautiful and so terrifying. Behind him, Kareth stood silent at the cave entrance, her silver skin glinting in the light. She didn't move closer. She didn't breathe. They came, Elias whispered. They actually came. Kareth didn't answer. She only watched, eyes fixed on the sky as the ship landed on the frozen plain. The storm screamed around it, but the machine held steady, solid, strong, human. The ship's doors opened with a hiss. Armed soldiers in white armor stepped out, scanning the area. One of them spotted Elias immediately. Captain Ward. A voice called through the coms. We've got you. Stay put. Elias raised a hand, but his eyes darted back to Kareth. They'll see you, he whispered. Kareth nodded slowly. Then it is time. He turned to her. You can't just stand here. They will do what they must, she said quietly. And so will you. The soldiers moved closer, weapons low but ready. The storm made it hard to see, but even through the snow, they began to notice the giant shape behind Elias. What the hell is that? One shouted. Contact, unknown entity. Keep your distance. Kareth stepped forward, her size dwarfing them. Her voice carried over the storm. I mean no harm. I saved your captain. Immediately, rifles came up. The soldiers shouted warnings. Elias ran between them, waving his arms. Wait, don't shoot. She's not the enemy. She's not human, one soldier barked. She's alive, Elias shot back. And she saved my life. The commander stepped forward, visor reflecting the storm's lightning. Captain, stand aside. We'll handle this. Elias clenched his fists. You'll handle nothing. She's coming with us. The commander's tone hardened. We can't take that risk. You know the protocol, no unknown species allowed aboard without clearance. Then make an exception. Elias shouted, voice cracking with desperation. She's not dangerous. Kareth's voice broke through the chaos. Stop, everyone froze. Even the wind seemed to pause. She looked at Elias, her eyes softer than he'd ever seen them. They are right. Your world would never accept me. Elias stepped closer. I don't care what they accept. Kareth knelt so they were face to face. Snow clung to her lashes like tiny stars. You must live, Elias Ward. That is what humans do best. You survive. He shook his head. Not without you. Her hand reached out, massive fingers brushing against his cheek. The touch was warm, gentle. You already carry me, she whispered. In here. He grabbed her hand tightly, refusing to let go. Don't say goodbye. Don't you dare. She smiled faintly, sad, beautiful, and strong. You taught me something no war ever could. That even the smallest fire can warm a dying world. The soldiers moved closer, tense but uncertain. The commander raised his voice. Captain, step away, now. Elias turned, his voice sharp. If you fire, I swear I'll... Kareth gently pulled her hand free. Let them. Before he could speak again, she took a step back. Then another. Her eyes lingered on him one last time, full of unspoken words. Full of everything she couldn't say. The storm swallowed her form as she walked into the white. Her glowing silhouette fading like a dream. Kareth! Elias shouted, running after her, but hands grabbed him, pulling him back toward the ship. Captain! You can't go out there. Let me go. She's out there. Whatever that thing is, it's gone. He struggled, shouting her name until his voice broke. But all that answered him was the wind. They dragged him aboard. The door sealed shut. The engines roared to life. As the ship lifted off, Elias pressed his hand against the window. Below, the ice stretched endless and silent. No sign of the giant. No sign of her warmth. Only the faintest glimmer in the snow. A soft blue light, pulsing once, like a heartbeat. Elias whispered, voice trembling, You're not gone. You can't be. But deep down, he knew, some goodbyes don't end with words. They live forever in the spaces between stars. 6 months had passed since the rescue. The ice planet was now just a name in Elias Ward's mission logs. Designation E47, uninhabited, unclassified, unstable atmosphere. But Elias knew better. He knew something lived there. Something that changed him forever. He sat alone in the observation deck of the research station orbiting Mars. Stars stretched endlessly outside the glass, silent witnesses to what he had lost. The hum of the ship surrounded him, calm, predictable, lifeless. Every night he saw her. The glow of her eyes. The warmth of her hand. The way she said his name as if it meant something sacred. He thought he could forget. He couldn't. Captain Ward? A voice broke through his thoughts. It was Dr. Liara, one of the xenobiologists. She stood at the door, holding a datapad. We found something. Elias frowned. Found what? She hesitated. A transmission. From the outer rim of the Vega system. He stood slowly. Vega? That's nowhere near E47. I know, she said. But it's the signal pattern you created, your old distress frequency. Elias froze. His chest tightened. That's impossible. That beacon was destroyed. Liara handed him the datapad. Maybe not. The moment he touched it, the screen flickered to life, static, then a faint rhythmic pulse. Not random. Not mechanical. It was steady, familiar, a heartbeat. Elias's breath caught. No, it can't be. Then a voice, low and faint, filtered through the static. It wasn't human, deeper, softer, carrying the strange calm that made his blood freeze. Elias, if you can hear this. He stumbled back, gripping the console. His heart pounded. He knew that voice. He would know it anywhere. Kareth, he whispered. The transmission continued. Faint but clear. I survived, she said. The storm carried me to the northern range. I found a cave system. And something else. Something growing. Elias swallowed hard, his fingers trembling. I do not know what it is, her voice went on. But it carries your fire. Your warmth. It grows fast, strong, and small. His eyes widened. He sank into a chair, breath shallow. Caretha's voice softened, almost tender. I was wrong, human. My body was not too big. It was made to protect life, even yours. Liara looked at him, puzzled. Captain, what is this? Who is she talking about? Elias couldn't answer. His throat was tight, eyes fixed on the screen. Caretha's voice faded, replaced by a faint, rhythmic sound again, not just one heartbeat now, two. Her last words came through the static, gentle as a whisper. When the child can walk among your stars, tell them. Their mother was not a monster. The transmission ended. Silence filled the room. Liara blinked, whispering, did she just say? Child? Elias's gaze drifted out the viewport. Stars burned in the endless dark, each one a distant fire. Yes, he said softly. Our child. He left the research deck that night, walking through the silent halls of the station. Every light felt too bright, every sound too hollow. He reached the docking bay and stood beside his small scout ship, the Ardent. The orders were clear: report the signal, await command. But Elias had never been good at following orders. He powered up the engines. The console lit up, waiting for coordinates. He entered them manually. Vega system, outer rim dot as the ship lifted off. Earth and Mars fell away behind him. The stars stretched ahead, endless, unknown, alive. He whispered to himself, you thought I'd forget you, didn't you? The stars seemed to shimmer in answer. Not a chance, he said with a small, trembling smile. I'm coming, Careth. He set the ship to jump speed. The engines flared. For a moment, the entire cockpit glowed blue, just like her skin, just like her eyes, and then the ship vanished into the dark, leaving only a trail of light, the light of a human chasing a legend. Chasing love, chasing the impossible, somewhere in the cold vastness of space. A new life stirred, part human, part alien. Heartbeat steady and strong, two worlds had collided, and something greater had begun.